So grateful that we are kicking off a new month here in February, and our theme is Into the Mystic.
Wow.
Into the Mystic.
How did that work
That's
out?
so cosmic, right? Yes. So we're going to be exploring this month how to move from simply thinking about the divine to actually feeling and experiencing and embodying it through mystical practices and various experiences that transcend any one path or tradition or religion. We're going to be talking about this concept of the infinite, of love, of the mystic. And today we start with a beginner's mind with our topic, a clean slate. A clean slate.
Clean slate.
Because what we know is that principle is not bound by precedent. So that means that our past has no control over this now moment or the future unless we choose to give it that power. We are not bound by the past, but we are yet freed by spiritual principle. And we can begin again in each and every moment to surrender into this now moment. And we enter into a mode of deconstruction where the all that is present everywhere is expressed through all. And the divine are done in meaningful ways of approaching life through a clean slate. So we have to deconstruct those old ideas of separation and understand that if there really is only one life, that it must be expressing as me as well. And this is what it looks like when we approach life from a clean slate, a new beginning. An old habit or situation. While we recognize that some beliefs or behaviors or situations no longer serve us, it is important to have a process or a consciousness, an intentionality around releasing, right? So we started the year with releasing the old. We had the burning bowl. We wrote new intentions. And so we're continuing on this theme of a beginner's mind and a clean slate. We can cultivate a clean slate at any moment in our lives. Any moment we choose to. It just simply requires a willingness to embrace this moment, and to confront whatever pain or promise exists right here, right now, and to practice the presence. As Meister Eckhart says, be willing to be a beginner every single morning.
Oh.
What? But I want to be an expert at something, right?
Yeah, but
Can I
for
be an
sure.
expert when I wake up? No. All right. You know, it's interesting. What if we were to really approach that idea of being a beginner at everything we do every morning? It's interesting.
Mm-hmm. We'd have a learning mind.
Yes, we would always be curious and open to learn. And, you know, one of the things that's coming to me now, it's like, what if we were even to approach those that we are closest with as if we were meeting them for the first time?
Oh, wow.
Right? Without all the baggage of any past history or patterns, if we were to really have a clean slate when we wake up with our beloveds.
That is a good thought.
It is.
That could improve anybody's relationship, right?
And with ourselves. What if we were to wake up and realize that we are meeting ourselves for the first time that morning?
Don't go there.
Yeah. All right. So, have you ever prayed, Reverend Sunny, for a do-over?
I have.
A second chance, a clean slate?
Right.
Yes. I think many of us have. But then have you ever found yourself in the middle of that new beginning and all of a sudden you're a little terrified perhaps, maybe exhilarated, but there's that fear and excitement that lies when a new beginning is brought before us. See, there's an allure and excitement to the blank page, the empty canvas, the open road, the freshly tilled soil. And I personally love change. I like new beginnings. I can go with the flow and say, okay, bring it on, a new start. And I know others are a little bit more cautious. Yes, we have someone shaking their head no in the back, like, no change, no, I want to understand the rules of the game and have everything set all the time, right? Some are kind of terrified of constant change.
Absolutely.
And it's all about embracing the unknown, which can be pretty terrifying. There's both hope and fear that's inherent in these life transitions, right? The life transition of embracing parenthood for the first time, or divorce, a new relationship, a career change, a new move. All of these losses and successes in our life of all kinds create an opportunity to begin again and to have a clean slate. And there's kind of a mixed emotion around that. Because sometimes we intentionally seek a change, and other times they seem to be a little bit more thrust upon us, welcomed or unwanted. But what we know is always a clean slate offers an opportunity, if we're willing to see it as such, offers an opportunity as we tap into source energy and the creative infinite potentiality and possibility of all of life that can reside in that moment and that new beginning. Centers for Spiritual Living is the greater organization in which we are affiliated with, and the vision for CSL, there's a vision statement. Part of it goes like this: we envision humanity awakening to its spiritual magnificence and discovering the creative power of thought. So to awaken to that spiritual magnificence, we must begin to cultivate self-awareness and self-reflection. Consider establishing a routine of examining your own beliefs and behaviors to determine whether or not they still serve you. It could be a journaling practice. It could be working with a practitioner, enrolling in a class here. Some kind of class or program or practice that you can do regularly to consciously cultivate that clean slate in your mind and to begin to get more in touch, more self-aware with what you actually desire for your life. Asking yourself questions such as, where did this idea or thought or belief or pattern first originate? Am I in integrity with my values? Who would I be without this belief, this fear, behavior, or habit? And as these detrimental beliefs begin to be removed from our awareness, from our consciousness, as we shine the light of awareness on them, there becomes clarity and a space for new possibilities to emerge. Dr. Ernest Holmes, who's the founder of the Science of Mind teaching, he writes in the book, Living the Science of Mind, when in thought, in contemplation, in imagination, and in inward feeling, we consciously return to the source of our being. The divine pattern which already exists springs forth into newness of manifestation. So I want to take this idea of a clean slate and make it a little bit more practical, yes? Reverend Soni, can you share with us an experience you have had of this kind of new beginning, this clean slate?
Thank you for asking. You know, I was thinking as you were talking about the past.
Mm-hmm.
You know, in 12-step work, we say that we don't regret the past, but we also do not turn the door away from it. So, you know, the thing with 12-step programs is we try to learn from the past.
Yeah.
You know, so that we can create a better present-day life. And I would say that for me, my most life-changing experience or beginning again was when I surrendered to sobriety in November of 1988. That was huge for me, and it gave me an opportunity to really begin again. I really believe in my heart that the 12 steps of Alcoholics Anonymous can be applied to anything in your life.
Oh, yeah.
You know, for example, let's talk about just the first 3 steps of Alcoholics Anonymous. First, we admitted that we were powerless over alcohol, that our lives had become unmanageable. 2, step 2, came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. And then 3, made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understood God, as we understand God. So, you know, let's do a little let's do some work this morning.
Let's do it.
Let's do some work. I'm going to invite everybody, as I break down these steps, to take the first 3 steps and personalize them.
Okay.
So, first of all, I invite you in your mind's eye to imagine a challenge, a situation, a person, or a thing in your life where you would like to start over, or you would like to begin again with a clean slate. So take that challenge and start with the first step. I admit I am powerless over, fill in the blank, and my life has become unmanageable. I admit that I am powerless over, fill in the blank, and my life has become unmanageable. So the reality is that the first step to any change in anyone's life, or anything that you want to begin again, has to start with acceptance. We have to accept the situation, the person, the thing. For example, if you're thinking about someone in your life that you would like to start over with, think about this. You do not have the power to change them, but you do have the power to accept them as they are.
Oh, why is that so hard, Reverend
I don't know, because we want people to act the way we want them to.
Yes.
You know, we have an idea as human beings in our mind with our filters, how we want that individual to be. But we have no power over them, yet we do have the power to accept them as they are.
Yes.
And it's through the acceptance, it's through our acceptance, that we can begin to change our actions, our attitude, and our choices. But the first step, of course, is to admit that you're powerless to change them. And depending on how much you are obsessed with changing that individual, you can ask yourself the question, am I consumed with their life over my own?
Oh, wow.
Am I consumed with their life over my own?
Yes.
You know, one of the biggies in our world is sugar. How much do we talk about sugar?
Oh, goodness.
So
You're just hitting it home today, Reverend Soni.
You know, I am powerless over sugar, and my life has become unmanageable. So how has it become unmanageable, right? I can no longer fit in my pants because of my sugar consumption, right? Or my health is suffering.
Yeah.
That's what we mean by unmanageable. It is a shift in thinking. We shift from thinking that we are powerful and in charge of our lives to accepting the reality that our efforts up to now haven't worked. Right? This is where the powerlessness comes in, because everything we've tried so far hasn't worked. Our struggles to control ourselves and others have only made our lives unmanageable. And in this way, we have been blind to ourselves. You know, one of the things that we talk about in AA is that, you know, change your, don't drink scotch anymore, drink vodka. You know what I'm saying? Like, I tried that, it didn't work. Or I tried moving, that didn't work. I tried a new relationship, that didn't work. So what does it all come down? What is the common denominator of all of this is me. Right?
Yes.
So the second step is came to believe a power greater than myself could restore me to sanity. I came to believe that a power greater than myself could restore me to sanity. So what does this mean in terms of spirituality? A power greater than myself. What does that mean in terms of spirituality? Let me break that one down. Came to believe implies to me that it's not an event, but rather a journey, a part of a process. It does not state that one must immediately have an epiphany that provides an instantaneous and miraculous conversion, but rather involves an expedition, an evolution of one's core belief system, which enables anyone anyone to transform their lives. Again, what are we talking about? Acceptance. This is who I am, and I came to believe. So I am living a life of authenticity and continuing to personalize these steps. As we roll into step 3, I made a decision to turn my will and my life over to the care of God as I understood or understand God. All living is a process of decision. Let me say that again. All living is a process of decision. Every waking moment of every single day, we're deciding. We decide whether to get out of bed, what to wear, what to eat, who to talk to, what to say. But we can't decide everything. We cannot decide about everything. We couldn't get through the day if we had to decide to pick up a pencil or pull up a sock, right? We just do that because these are habitual decisions that are embedded in our brain. You know, these are learned things, and we just automatically do them. They are only the background, you see, for the real decisions we have to make. Real decisions can be activated and examined, or passive and unexamined. Most of us guide our lives with unexamined decisions that are driven by our pain, our denial, our insecurities, our rage. In other words, driven by the roots of our compulsions. Love me, love me, love me. You don't love me, so now I'm going to make a decision to leave you. And, you know, and how many stories do we make up in our minds about any given situation at any given time? You know, before we even check it out, we're already down the road of moving to another state.
Oh, yeah.
See what I'm saying?
I'm really good at making stories.
Are you good at stories?
I got that creative imagination, but sometimes it goes awry.
It goes awry.
Stories
It goes
I can
awry.
make up.
So we're like down the road.
Yeah.
We're moving to another state,
Yeah,
whether it's another state or a state of consciousness.
Right.
The only background for the real decisions we have to make, there is the decisions that must be examined. So the third step teaches us another way. This is where we learn to make active, examined decisions. We can decide, you see, to push ahead in a time of crisis rather than to fall back into our old ways. We shall not regret the past, nor wish to close the door on it. So we should learn from it,
Right.
and we don't want to fall back into our old ways. And with the help of the third step, we take full responsibility. Here's that other deal. We got to take responsibility, full responsibility, and begin to guide our lives in a deliberate and spiritual way. I say spiritual way because the third step states a God of our own understanding, which for some of us may mean no God at all, right? But we can be open to spiritual energy with our emotions, with our minds, the actions of our bodies, or with our whole being. We can draw inspiration from the natural world,
Yes.
from the power of ideas, from the courage of another person, from wisdom, from everyday events in our lives. Although this sounds rather easy, you know, me standing up here talking about it, it sounds rather easy. It does take work.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, it takes work. Make no mistake about it. And I am keenly aware that we each have our own life, our own truth, our own power, our own way of experiencing spiritual energy and moving through life. So change takes patience. I'm so sorry.
Patience.
Patience. Change takes patience and persistent practice in thinking and feeling and acting in new ways. But eventually, after we have worked at it long enough, we become what we practice.
Yes. Practice, practice, practice. And just like the birth of anything new, there's generally a process preceding this birth that includes some pain, a little bit of messiness. Before we can enjoy anything new, like a home remodel, right? It gets a little messy. Well, before we clean out our closets, we have to pull everything out. It gets a little messy. And we have to be comfortable with the kind of discomfort of that. And what I can imagine was part of your story, Reverend Soni, is that there was some mess that led to that moment of surrender, yes?
Yeah, living on the street, $40,000 in debt,
Oh, yeah, just
No.
a little messy,
Just a little messy.
little unmanageable, yes. And so just like when we are in that process of cleaning something out in order to experience the newness and the clean slate, we have to be willing to be aware, right? To be aware and to take those micro moments of mindfulness that we talked about a few weeks ago and expand our own awareness and our own consciousness. And this is how we kind of marry the practical with the spiritual. So we're taking the physical steps of making changes in our lives, whether it be cleaning out our closet and dumping everything out in order to consciously choose how you want to organize it, or that could be a metaphor for what you are really looking at and excavating in your own awareness. Self-awareness encompasses a whole range of feelings and emotions, as well as in your mind. Emotions that emerge as this new slate begins. And it can be sometimes difficult to manage all of that comes up, especially when we're first looking something, when we're for the first time willing to really get honest with ourselves, to have that moment, that kind of sobering moment of whatever's not working in our lives in whatever area. It can be a little scary. And these emotions, though, if you really allow them, they can be a guide. They can be a guide for you. It's our internal guidance system, our internal GPS, as some have called it, letting us know what thoughts no longer serve us, or what situations are coming up that we want to look at and approach from a new way. Perhaps there's some stories we want to let go of or be curious about if they're even true. So we're called to be self-aware and to be mindful and to be willing to embrace those clean slate moments as a jumping off point for personal as well as collective growth. So in order to live from self-awareness, clarity, possibility, newness, we're called to practice the presence regularly. There that comes that practice word,
Practice
right?
again.
Practice. To release thoughts of the past or the future and just sit with the possibility of this now moment, the gift that awaits in this now moment. And there's so many ways to practice the presence. We have some tools and practices and methods here that we talk about and teach, such as spiritual mind treatment or affirmative prayer, as we call it. There's meditation and mindfulness, contemplation. All of this serve as an opportunity to become more self-aware and to self-reflect on what is working and what are you ready to transform in order to awaken to that inherent power that lives within all of us. So that's our invitation this week, to heed the wisdom of Ralph Waldo Emerson and to embrace this idea of a clean slate when he says, "Finish each day and be done with it. You have done what you could. Some blunders and some absurdities no doubt crept in. Forget them as soon as you can. Tomorrow is a new day." So to me, what this means is stop beating ourselves up, right? Practice a little bit of self-love and grace and forgiveness, and to be done with the day and know that in the new day brings a new dawn, a new opportunities. So I invite you this week to give yourself permission to really indulge in what feeds your soul, to get curious around that which brings you life, and to approach each moment with fresh eyes and intentionally choose what you desire to experience. to indulge in the life-giving opportunities of sacred service, right? Of being of service to someone or something greater than yourself, getting out of your own story. Service can really help us shift out of that mindset of, poor me, no, right? Also, nature. Nature is such a wonderful opportunity to kind of lift us out and to see the glory and the grandness of each moment and the potentiality that lives within that little seed and that blossom and that snowflake is who we are. Spending time with friends, music, creativity, laughter. There are so many ways to really indulge in what delights our soul. And to finally, to listen to that inner guidance system and to honor your body. We have that 7-minute workout that Reverend Soni posted, that video, so we encourage you to keep moving your body and finding ways that works for you. You know, there's so many different practices of walking meditation, yoga, different ways to just be in moving your body. And to then honor your body and get plenty of sleep. And to know that at the end of each day, you can let go, rest easy, because there is a new day, a new dawn, a new beginning, a clean slate to awaken to each day, one day at a time. We get to begin again. Yes.
Absolutely. You know, I was thinking about your practices. You were talking about meditation and affirmation and prayer. It's a map.
Oh,
It's a
meditation,
map to the new
affirmation,
you.
prayer.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's
Ooh,
good.
baby.
That's good. Follow the map. All you got to do is follow that map.
Follow the map. Yeah, absolutely.
That makes me think of Dora the Explorer. But anyway, okay, let's pray, shall we?
Let's pray.
Oh, I'll get us started here. So let's just take a deep breath. So grateful to anchor into this now moment through consciously taking that deep breath. Being completely present with the breath. How good it is to know that in each moment, pure possibility resides. In each moment, there is pure potentiality. For all of life resides in this eternal now moment. We recognize this life as love, as wholeness, as order, as peace. Knowing that this one life is all that there is. It is expressing in me, as me, through me right now, in, as, and through each and every one of us. For it is the truth, the very essence and nature of who we are. We are love. We are whole, perfect, and complete. Divine order is happening right here, right now. And in this now moment, there is a new beginning. There is an opportunity to choose again. From this place of truth, from this place of self-awareness, knowing that love is always the answer and that love is guiding the way this day. I see and hold and know peace in my heart, love in my heart. And I know that this is expressing in all of my affairs and in the collective consciousness of the entire world, in the entire universe. That divine order is happening right here, right now, so therefore everything is unfolding perfectly. That this is an opportunity for a new beginning in which we consciously choose love, in which we consciously choose peace, choose wholeness, choose order, and allow it to unfold perfectly, to do its good and perfect work through me, as me, right now. So again, I just take that conscious breath, acknowledging that the power resides in all of life, resides in the universe, resides in me right here. And I am humbled and grateful as I pass my word to Reverend Soni.
And as I simply stand in the power and the presence of the word that has already been spoken here in these moments together, I know that it has been activated throughout, internally and outwardly into the world. I know that right here, right now, as I drop into that GPS, that God's personal self, I stand in the power and presence of this word that I speak for this community, for Ahava, and all of those who are within the sound of my voice, knowing that the opportunity this morning has been laid out, and that I rest in that opportunity, knowing that as I open the door to the sunlight of a new life, of a clean slate, that it is simply God opening the door for me.
Yes.
That I know right here and right now that all is in perfect order through the love that Reverend Rainbow has already so beautifully stated. That the door I open, every door I open, is love. And so I know that my life is revolving and evolving and changing. For it is the only thing that is constant through this source, through this activity of my conscious decisions. And so I stand in the gap and hold that for each and every person. I hold it for this community. I hold it for this city and the state and the world. Knowing that it is through these conscious decisions and actions that we create and build an amazing life and an amazing world. As we all accept who we are just as we are. It is the acceptance not only of ourselves, but of those we love and those that we perhaps don't love so much. But the truth is, there is only oneness. And so it is through this reflection of one another that I just give thanks. My word to know the truth and to stand in the gap for those who may not know in this moment the beauty and the amazing souls that we all are. And it is with a grateful heart that I release this word into the perfect universal law, knowing that the law always says yes.
Yes.
It always says yes.
Yes.
Say it with me.
Yes.
Yes. I stand in the power of yes, the place of grace, by saying shalom, hamdalela, ashe, namaste. This prayer is done. I leave it knowing it is so, and so it is.
So it is.